The phone trembled against my ear like a trapped moth, its plastic wings beating out the frantic rhythm of my pulse. "Community center," came the polite voice on the other end. I clenched my jaw and forced steadiness into my words, though they shook like leaves in the wind. "This is David Lewis," I said, my breath shallow. "My wife, Jessica, is there tonight. The book club meeting. Could you let her know I'm parked out front?" There was a brief, almost imperceptible pause. Then the voice came back. "I'm sorry, Mr. Lewis. The center's been closed since 7. No meeting tonight." The line went dead, but the silence inside the car roared louder than any engine. I stared through the windshield at the empty lot. Gravel glittering under a single sodium lamp. No minivans, no book club members, no Jessica. My thumb hovered over redial, then fell away. Some truths you only need to hear once. I drove home on autopilot. The city lights smeared into watercolor streaks against the dark canvas of the night. 10 years of marriage played in my mind like fractured frames. The way she used to hum while folding my shirts, the tiny scar on her left knee from our honeymoon hike, the vow renewal under string lights where she'd whispered, "You're my safe place." Safe. The word tasted like rust now. The house was too quiet when I stepped inside. Her purse sat on the bench by the door, lipstick peeking like a guilty tongue. Upstairs, the shower hissed. I stood in the hallway, water drumming against tile like accusatory fingers. My phone buzzed. Jessica's name glowing on the screen. I let it ring until voicemail swallowed it. She appeared minutes later, towel turbaned, skin flushed from steam. "Hey, babe." Her smile faltered when she saw my face. "You're early," she said, her tone light, almost careless. "The community center let out sooner than expected," I said, my voice flat as the kitchen tile. Her eyes widened slightly, a flicker of something unfamiliar crossing her face. She blinked, then spoke, her voice soft. "Yeah, Rachel wasn't feeling well. We wrapped up early." I held up my phone. The call log still open. Funny. They said the building's been locked since 7. The color drained from her face in slow motion, as if someone had pulled a plug behind her eyes. She reached for the banister, knuckles whitening. "David, save it." The words scraped out raw. "Just tell me where you were." Her mouth opened, then closed. A sound escaped, half sigh, half sob. I can't. "Can't or won't?" I pressed, my voice tight with the weight of the question. She sank onto the bottom stair, towels slipping to reveal damp curls clinging to her neck. Her face crumpled as I paced the narrow hallway, my shoes squeaking with every step. I couldn't remember a time when my chest didn't feel full of her, but now it was hollow, empty. 10 years, Jessica? 10 years of mortgage payments and parent-teacher conferences and hospital vigils when Mom had her stroke. I held your hair while you puked from chemo-like migraines. I learned to make your grandmother's lasagna because you missed her. And you? My voice cracked like thin ice. You couldn't give me the truth. Tears tracked silver paths down her face. It's not what you think. Then enlighten me. I stopped in front of her, close enough to smell the faint scent of coconut shampoo and something foreign, a scent that didn't belong to our life. I stood, hands trembling at my sides. "His name is Chris," she whispered. The name landed between us like a live grenade. My mind couldn't process it. "We met at the grief support group," she continued, her voice trembling. "After Dad died." The room tilted. Our fathers had passed within months of each other. I'd encouraged the group, even drove her to the first meeting. Support group, I repeated, tasting each syllable. Not the community center. She nodded, small and miserable. Not the community center. How long? I asked, my voice quieter than I wanted. 6 months. 6 months. While I'd been color-coding spreadsheets at work, she'd been unraveling our marriage thread by thread. My laugh was sharp and ugly. The Tuesday night book clubs, the new perfume, the way you started locking your phone. Puzzle pieces clicked with sickening precision. I never meant for it to happen.
Don't, I held up a hand, don't you dare say you never meant for this to happen. Affairs don't just happen, Jessica. They're built brick by brick while someone else is asleep beside you. She stood, legs unsteady. I was drowning. David's death. It cracked something open. Chris listened, really listened. You were distant, she said, her voice shaking. I didn't know how to stop. Distant? The word detonated in my chest. I was grieving too, but I came home every night. I cooked dinner. I asked about your day, even when mine felt like quicksand. Her shoulders curled inward. I know. Do you? I stepped closer, voice dropping to a whisper that somehow carried more weight than shouting. Do you know what it feels like to realize the person you burned the world down for has been warming someone else's bed? To question every memory, wondering which kisses were real and which were just muscle memory. A sob tore from her throat and she reached for me. I flinched back, as if her touch might burn me. Please, we can fix this. Counseling, separation, whatever you need. I needed honesty, I said, my voice raw. 6 months ago, tonight, any night you chose to lie instead. The grandfather clock in the living room chimed 11, its bronze voice steady, indifferent. I thought of all the nights we'd curled together on the couch, her feet tucked under my thigh, planning a future that suddenly felt like a house of cards in hurricane season. Where is he now? I asked, voice steady. She hesitated. Hotel off Route 44, the Meridian. The Meridian. 20 minutes away. Close enough for lunchtime trysts, far enough to feel like escape. I grabbed my keys from the bowl, the ceramic painted with tiny bluebirds from our honeymoon. David, wait! For what? Another lie? I was already moving. The drive passed in fragments, red lights bleeding into each other, radio static. My heartbeat thundered like a storm front. The Meridian's parking lot was half full. Sedans and SUVs huddled under buzzing fluorescence. I spotted her car immediately. Our car. The one with the dented bumper from parallel parking downtown. Room 217. The clerk confirmed it without meeting my eyes, sensing trouble the way animals sense earthquakes. I took the stairs 2 at a time, rage and grief braided so tightly I couldn't tell where one ended and the other began. The door opened on the 3rd knock. Chris was younger than I'd imagined, early 30s, gym-built, wearing the stunned expression of a man who never expected consequences to knock. Behind him, Jessica's silhouette froze in the bathroom doorway, clutching a robe like armor. David, she cracked. Chris found his first. Look, man, this isn't... Shut up. The words came out calm, almost conversational. I stepped inside. The door clicked shut behind me with funeral finality. The room smelled of cheap coffee and regret. Jessica's wedding ring glinted on the nightstand beside a half-empty bottle of Merlot. I picked it up, the gold warm from her skin. You took this off. Not a question. She nodded, tears falling faster now. I couldn't what? Wear the symbol of promises you were breaking? I turned the ring between my fingers, watching light fracture across its surface. Remember when we picked these out? You wanted the thinnest band because you said anything heavier felt like chains. I laughed, bitter. Turns out the chains were invisible. Chris shifted. We should all calm down. I ignored him, eyes locked on Jessica. Tell me one thing, just one. Was any of it real? Her face crumpled. All of it. She gestured helplessly at the room, the bed, the discarded clothes, the wreckage. That's what makes this unbearable. I love you, she whispered. I just stopped knowing how to reach you. The confession hit me harder than any slap. Love, present tense, as if it could coexist with this betrayal like some twisted Schrodinger's marriage. I slipped the ring into my pocket.
You don't get to decide what's unbearable anymore. Chris opened his mouth again. I silenced him with a look that promised violence I wasn't sure I had in me. You, I said, voice low, you knew she was married. He swallowed. She said you two were separated. Jessica's sharp intake of breath was answer enough. I turned back to her. That's the lie you fed him. God, Jessica, I whispered. Exhaustion crashed over me, heavy as wet wool. I can't do this, I said. I can't stand here and watch you rewrite our history to justify. I waved a hand at the room, the bed, the man. She sank onto the mattress, rope slipping off one shoulder. What happens now? Now? I echoed. The question hung in the stale air like smoke. Now I go home alone and figure out how to breathe in a house that suddenly feels like a crime scene. I walked out without looking back. The door closed softer than I expected. No slam, just a quiet click that sounded exactly like the end of something. In the parking lot, dawn was beginning to bruise the sky purple. I sat in the driver's seat, Jessica's ring cutting into my palm. After a while, I rolled down the window and let the morning air slap me awake. Somewhere inside the hotel, my wife was probably crying into a stranger's shoulder. I started the engine. The road home stretched empty and unfamiliar, every mile marker a question I wasn't ready to answer. But as the sun crested the horizon, painting the windshield gold, one truth settled in my bones. Some betrayals don't kill you, they just carve out the space where trust used to live, leaving a hollow that echoes with every heartbeat.